welcome back to the Night Sky Knitting channel. My name is Rachel, I'm your host, and I am a knitter based out of Ottawa, Canada. And normally here I do kind of knitting journal podcast episodes every 3 weeks where I talk about the projects I have been working on, finished objects, modifications, thoughts and feelings on those. However, this is going to be a special episode where I talk about all the patterns and yarns I plan to knit or knit with for the upcoming Northern Hemisphere spring and summer season. I really enjoy these kinds of videos for myself to make. I think they're a lot of fun to talk about the patterns that I'm really loving, but even if I haven't actually started knitting with them yet, I find it a really good way to organize things in my brain because I'm very much someone who processes information by talking about it. That's why I have a podcast. And to share with you guys the inspiration I have for the warm weather season. So the way that we're going to be doing this is in kind of rough, planned chronological order, if that makes sense. So the projects that I'm planning on casting on sooner, I will be talking about first, and then we'll kind of move along the months into full-on summer. I already have either the pattern or the yarn or both for all of these, which is how they made it on this list. These are somewhat concrete plans. I mean, I'll detail, how concrete they are when I get to each one. And yeah, let's just jump right on in. So all patterns and yarns will be linked down below. The very first pattern I'm planning on knitting this spring is the Field Day Jacket by Ozetta Knitwear, whose real name I think is Haley Smedley, which is a worsted weight drop shoulder cardigan. And I am planning on knitting it in this, which is my Green Mountain Spinnery weekend wool in the color fawn. And this is discounted, or it was discounted when I purchased it because I think the person there said it was off weight, so it's a little bit thicker than is what they usually sell for their consistent weekend wool base. I'm very excited about this. I have not knit myself a cardigan to date, and I really, really would benefit from it, one, probably two, in my wardrobe. And right now cardigan patterns have been really calling to me. And I think this kind of dark beige, light brown color would be a fantastic neutral to go with a whole bunch of different things in my wardrobe, and this kind of color has been really inspiring me lately. I already have the appropriate quantity that I need for this, and so I plan on casting on very soon because I understand, it's part of knitting that often, these things take a while and it's not going to be cold enough to really wear a worsted weight 100% wool garment in June here in Canada, but it snowed here literally yesterday. I wish I was kidding, but I am not. And it's mid to late April, and so this kind of woolly wool is still very appropriate to be knitting with temperature comfort-wise. But I do want to make sure that I finish this before it gets really, really hot, and I'm not sweating with it sitting on my lap because my house does not have air conditioning. And that fact has very much led to me choosing the order in which I am knitting these projects. I'm also really excited about this because I do plan on having it as a cardigan in the winter months when it's quite cold where I live, but I do think it'll also work as an outerwear garment in the transitional months in spring and autumn where it's too cold to go out in just a long sleeve and a pair of pants, but I do think it'll be good to have as a nice, literally a jacket, so just a lightweight one. So I'm very excited about this. It'll fulfill the cardigan I have been wanting for many months, and I think it'll be fun to knit with, and I think it'll be incredibly useful to have in a classic piece. So that is number one. Number two is the Outline Tank by Two of Wands in line brand Kobu, and I will be knitting this in the color white. I don't have the yarn yet, so I can't show it to you, but this is a free pattern. I think it is the only free pattern on this list, and this will be the 4th time I knit this pattern as a gift for my mother, who I have knit one for before, also in Lion Brand Kobu, but in a dark blue color. She has found that it's been a very useful piece in her wardrobe, and she has asked me to knit her one again. And even though I kind of hate this pattern, I'm going to do it because I love her. The reason why I kind of hate it is because it has this really beautiful but really annoying half fisherman's rib detail along the sides and in between and in the middle on the chest. I'm sorry, that's not a very articulate way of saying it, but you can see in the photos. And the second I make a mistake in half fisherman's rib, I do not know how to fix it. And the last time I made a mistake, it just kept growing and growing and growing, and I could not fix it, and it just kept making it worse, and I had to frog the whole thing and start over. But I love my mother, so I'm going to knit her one again because she asked. And I am thinking I might do it in twisted rib instead of half fisherman's rib, because I accidentally did that the first time I knit one for a friend of mine, and my mom liked that too, and I don't think it'll make a big difference in anything substantial to this project. So that will be priority number 2 for this spring. Number 3, I was very set on at the beginning of the year, and I bought yarn for, specifically for that project in mind. However, now I'm wavering a little bit. Now I'm not as sure. So, okay, my plan was to use this Green Mountain Spinnery Cotton Comfort in the color Mint. Here is the tag. Sorry, it's crumpled. To knit a Riley tee by Rachel Kurihara, aka Rachel Knits Things on Instagram, which is a saddle shoulder t-shirt with a kind of high neck and a really nice twisted rib design going down the shoulders. And this is higher up on my list of priorities for 2 reasons. One, I have very few nicer spring summer tops. Most of mine are almost 10 years old at this point, kind of grody, things that I chose for myself when I was literally in high school, and or hand-me-downs, which I'm very grateful for, but a lot of them are kind of skimpier tank tops as opposed to nicer t-shirts that kind of fit my life a little bit more. And I would like to extend I would like to have a more versatile summer wardrobe that just kind of works better for my life. And this color I love, and I thought this cotton wool blend would be a nice transitional high neck piece. Part of the reason why it's kind of a priority for me to knit this sooner rather than later is because I really want that in my wardrobe. And 2, because this is, I think, an 80% wool, 20% cotton blend, and it is more of a rustic wool. And like I said, no air conditioning. It gets very hot in Canada in the summer very quickly, but not for another couple months. And so I wanted to knit this in that 2-month period where it's cool, and I could then potentially wear it, and I would be very comfortable. However, looking at the project pages on Ravelry, I'm now wondering if this particular pattern, the Riley tee, is as ideal for me as I first thought. The sample that the designer knit, I still love hers and I still love the photo, but the fit on people who have similar body types to me, I think from photos, I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want and if it might not overwhelm me as a very short girl, as a very short woman hovering between the 5'1", 5'2", I tell people I'm 5'2", mark in terms of height, or if that's something that I could more easily modify to have less of a fluttery sleeve and less of an overwhelming garment. So we'll see, I'll keep you posted, but it is still a priority for me to knit with this yarn because I really want to, and while I can still do that and not have it turn into a really prickly, itchy mess for me. The next pattern, and the first appearance of an accessory, or really first appearance of a sock on this list, is the Acorn sock pattern by Agatha Macias. Makowitz, I'm so sorry. I'm absolutely awful with Polish names, but her username on Instagram is Amanita Knits, and she has a gorgeous array of sock and garment patterns that I highly recommend you check out. And I will be knitting the Acorn sock, which is a pattern that I already have, and this yarn that I also already have, which is the Artful Bell yarn in the color Cabernet, which is very exciting, which was a gift from my mother. So thanks, Mom. So I know that this is not a very spring color, but it is a dark color that I absolutely love. And the Acorn sock is something I have been itching to cast on for many months. However, it is a toe-up sock, which is something I've never done before, and it includes a bunch of stitches and techniques that I've never used before. And because I want to knit it in this darker yarn, I have been waiting for it to become a lot more light out. So I have more time to sit by a window in full daylight and see my stitches and really have the full visibility I need to tackle a small needle project with a lot more technique and small design elements that I can see nicely in a darker yarn. So the Acorn sock, I am so excited to knit this. I think it'll be so much fun. This yarn is absolutely delectable and I love this color. And now that it is light out longer, I will be casting on this sock project as soon as my needles are free from the other sock projects that I'm currently working on. And so from here, I'm anticipating by the time it takes me to complete the projects I've already talked about, as well as the things that are currently on my needles, we will be in the warmer weather months where summer is hot and humid and swampy, and I probably will not want to be touching wool. Because for me, I find the colder it is, the less itch, the less prickle, the less anything bothersome wool feels against my skin. However, the second it gets even a little bit hot or I'm even a little bit sweaty, it is just itch city. So from here, most of the patterns I will be talking about are either socks or just 100% plan yarns. And the very first is the Cinch Me top by Camille Nicolas. And I will be knitting it in Wool in the Gang Shiny Happy Cotton in this color, which is Vitamin C. And this color, which is Turquoise Waters. These are not really my colors. I think they're fun, but they're not really my colors. Let me show you the side without the tag. However, they are colors that go very well with my friend's skin tone and her wardrobe, and she wants more orange. So in the summer, last summer, she purchased this yarn because I said I would knit her this particular top, but then it has been cold since, and I haven't seen her because we live in different cities. However, I'm hoping to be able to visit her and our other friends in Montreal later on this year, and by then I would like to be able to present her with the Cinch Me top, which is a worsted weight crop top pattern with a really cool cinch detail going up the front. I've already knit myself one of these and I love it. I wore it so much last summer and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a very quick summer pattern that is very comfortable and I would say pretty fashionable, very trendy. But this one that I will be knitting out of these two colors, I will be doing in intarsia so that it's split down the middle. Half of it is this color, half of it is this color, and I will be doing the tank top version, which does not have the little cap flutter sleeves. So that is next. I think it'll be lots of fun. Some of the fun of gift knits is being able to use colors or patterns that I wouldn't make for myself, but still enjoy the process of making. So that'll be really good. From there, we're getting into Rachel using all of her, or having grand plans for all of her Wool in the Gang Shiny Happy Cotton scraps. I really like this yarn, but there's not a ton I really want to do with the worsted weight cotton. And I have this left over from a sweater that I made in this cotton last year. And in that order, I also purchased this, which is this is the Mellow Mauve color. Mellow Mauve. I never know how to pronounce that. And then this is a full ball in the Duck Egg Blue color, which I think is just so lovely. But I purchased a full sweater quantity of this, have this left over, and then to get free shipping, I also added this guy on there before I really realized that there's not a lot you can do with just kind of one ball of a worsted cotton. So I've been looking for something to showcase this. And I also have most of a ball of the same yarn in eucalyptus green, which I used to make my own Cinch Me top last summer. So I have two patterns that I'm thinking will be good to use these up and make them into garments that are very wearable for me. And the first is the Drinks on the Patio crop by Shanna K. Salmon, which is a pattern that was recommended to me in the comments of my last podcast episode, where I'm currently running a giveaway. And to enter the giveaway, I asked people to recommend a pattern or a designer that they think deserves a lot more hype or recognition. And this is one of the first patterns that was recommended. So I saw it early on, I looked it up. Oh my goodness, I think it's perfect for my style and for what I want to wear in the summer. And I'm thinking I will probably knit most of it in this and then do all of the ribbing in this, because I don't think one ball is enough for a full crop top. And also my preferred pair of jean shorts is a light wash blue like this, and I don't want them to look too similar, so this will nicely break it up with the ribbing. And so this will be a really nice way to get some yarn scraps out of my stash that I've been wanting an appropriate use for a while, and create a garment that I think I will really get a lot of wear out of. But that's not enough to use up all of this, and it's not enough to use up the green that I have in this very same yarn, which is beautiful and very soft. And so I'm thinking I will probably also knit the Daisy Chain top by Friday Knits, which is knit in this yarn specifically. The Drinks on the Patio crop, I think I will have to mess around with the gauge a little bit and maybe go up a needle size and go down a pattern size. But the Daisy Chain top recommends this yarn as one of the options. And I think I can use this as an accent and the green as the body, and get this yarn out of stash and into my wardrobe. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Moving away from the bright colors and the pastels and the thicker summer projects, I am also very excited to cast on the Road Tripper tee, also by Ozetta Knitwear, aka Hayley Smelvley. And this is a really, really nice Henley style pattern that is just the kind of gorgeous classic design that I really appreciate right now. And this will be familiar to you if you watched my Make 9 video way back when. And at that time, in that video, or in the podcast afterwards, I said, oh, I was kind of putting off knitting it because I wanted something with a little bit more interest, and I thought it would be very straightforward. And then I bought the pattern, and I read through it, and I realized, no, it's not a super basic just stockinette pattern, and there is a little bit more technique involved in the shaping and the creation of that, which I'm very much looking forward to, and I think will be a really great combination of something that's interesting as a process to knit, but then a very nice, clean, crisp, very wearable final object. And so that is something I'm going to be knitting this summer, and I will be doing so in this Kelborn Woolens Mojave, which, as you can see, is a cotton linen blend. And this is the color Natural, I think. Does it say so anywhere? No. Oh, yeah, here. In the color Natural. So, as you can see, like I said, going through a bit of a beige phase at the moment. But this I'm very much looking forward to. I already have the pattern, I already have the yarn. I don't have the buttons, but I can be wishy-washy about that later once I actually have a project to put them on. I also have a large number of sock plants. I have a bunch of people who have asked me to knit them socks, and so I have patterns and yarns to choose for those, including from the 52 Weeks of Socks book, which I recently received, and a bunch of sock patterns that I purchased in the last few months because of sales or, fundraisers for Ukraine, or because I really wanted them. And those include the Grow socks by Fiber Tales. It includes the Rosalka socks, also by Amanita Knits. and a whole bunch of the patterns in the 52 Weeks of Socks book that I'm very much looking forward to casting on, and a whole bunch of stash yarns. So I will kind of let my whims take over when it comes to which socks I will cast on when, and talk to the recipients and see what kind of sock they actually want. But yeah, I will be knitting lots of socks. I think always plan to be knitting lots of socks, and I'm really, really drawn to texture right now, and color work and graphic whimsy in my socks, so that'll be happening. And then last but not least, I plan to knit a Friday tee by Petite Knit this summer. This project I will not be casting on before July, which is why this is the very last one on this list, and not because I don't think these patterns will be going past then, but because I plan on casting this on with Naomi of the NJ Knits podcast, because we both talked about how we want it, and then I said, I'll knit it if you knit it. And she said, yeah. However, Naomi already has the yarn for hers, and she will not have access to that yarn again until July, and I'm going to cast it on when she casts it on, and buying the yarn for that project will be my reward for getting all of this out of stash. Yeah. And so, if I knit all or most of these, using my stash yarns, not purchasing things I don't need, and using the things that I already love and spent money on, then I get to knit myself a Friday tee. I will be almost certainly knitting this in either a mono Chosky, which is a superwash merino cotton linen blend that I have used to make what feels like an endless number of socks, or and is, in my opinion, a somewhat budget-friendly option. It's about $20 or $21 Canadian for 100 grams, and I think I would need 200 to make the Friday tee in the size I would go down a size to get more negative ease. And so I think that's a decently affordable project. Or maybe knitting for olive cotton merino. We'll see. That is a June-July Rachel question and answer to come up with later. Really looking forward to that. I really like that pattern, and I expect it to take me a long time because it is a very small needle project and lots of broken rib. Good news is, I love rib. I know that this is kind of an ambitious list. However, it is a lot, with the exception of the field day jacket, it is a lot of thicker yarn, small project, no sleeve kind of list of patterns. And I don't expect myself to actually finish all of these. Some are more urgent priorities than others, such as the Outline Tank or the Cinch Me top, which I am knitting for other people as gifts. However, this is I don't want to say goals, because I don't want there to be any type of negative, I'm not going to feel angry at myself if I don't knit all of these, but these are my plans, the patterns that are inspiring me, and the things I really want to knit. I also have an honorable mentions section because these are patterns that I really wanted to cast on and really wanted to add to this list and get yarn for and really commit to. However, if you've been keeping track, in this video I have listed 11 patterns that I plan to knit in just 2 seasons. And that's already kind of a lot, especially considering I will be working full-time and taking classes in the evenings. And so I had to stop somewhere. However, I still want to showcase these patterns because they're gorgeous, and I might still knit them in the future, and I think they would be fun and beautiful. So the first is the Minaret Tee by Christina Dene. It's a fingering weight, beautifully structured top. I saw someone knit one with a lot of negative ease, and I thought it was stunning. And I think one day I will still knit this, just not soon because I just don't have time and I don't have the yarn. Number 2 is the Coastal Tank by Teresa Lamb. And this one I think looks so cool. and classic, and it's very similar to a very expensive Aritzia tank top that I coveted all of last summer. However, I do not think I have it in me to do an all twisted rib tank top in fingering weight yarn and teeny tiny needles. However, I follow the hashtag and admire from afar everybody else's. And 3, the Mountain Socks by Natasha Caitlin of NKP Designs, who also has a podcast. However, she's been very busy with school and has not posted in a while, and whose sock patterns I have loved for a long time. Exhibit A is my worn out spring rain sock, which is another one of her patterns. The mountain sock I think is really, really lovely. I think it would be so much fun to knit. However, I'm on a self-imposed sock pattern buying ban because I just received a book of 52 sock patterns, and I have a whole bunch in my library that I have not even started yet. And so until I have cleared a whole bunch more and made them into socks for myself and my loved ones, no more buying sock patterns for Rachel. So that is my list of knitting plans for this spring and summer, as well as a list of honorable mentions. I'm very curious to know, what patterns do you plan on knitting in the warm weather months? Are you knitting any of the same ones as me? What yarns do you like to knit with in the summer? Are you also very concerned about knitting with animal fibers and living in a house with no air conditioning? Or are you committing to the wool and going for it anyway? Please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!